A young man is walking along the ocean and sees a beach on which thousands and thousands of starfish have washed ashore. Further along, he sees an old man walking slowly and stooping often, picking up one starfish after another and tossing one gently into the ocean. "Why are you throwing starfish into the ocean?" he asks. "Because the sun is up and the tide is going out, and if I don't throw them further in, they will die." "But old man, don't you realize there are miles and miles of beach and starfish all along it? You can't possibly save them all. You can't even save 1/10 of them. In fact, even if you work all day, your efforts won't make any difference at all." The old man listened calmly and then bent down to pick up another starfish and threw it into the sea. It made a difference to that one. Community service in Tikkun Olam, which literally means world repair, is a mainstay of Judaism, whether such service is for a large group or just one individual starfish. Rabbi Yitz Greenberg, in his book, The Jewish Way, sums it all up, saying that each bit of constructive work that is part of Tikkun Olam is as significant as a divine creative act of cosmic significance and is how the mosaic of perfection will be accomplished. The Brotherhood Award of the Men of Reformed Judaism of WRT, formerly known as the Men's Club, is presented to a congregant who volunteers and performs community service at WRT and in the larger community at a level that far exceeds the typical resident. Although administered by the MRJ, the award serves the entire congregation and is awarded to honorees regardless of gender. This year's honoree, Scott Silberfein, is an example of such a congregant who has served the community at WRT and beyond as both a leader and an active contributor. Anyone who has known Scott since he moved to Scarsdale know he is the epitome of a Brotherhood Award honoree, and there are a few former honorees here tonight who know. His involvement at WRT includes being an executive board member, trustee, former president of the Men's Club. Local activities include school board president and trustee, board of ethics, youth soccer, and Scarsdale Bowl. These are just a few of the volunteer activities which often happen simultaneously. Scott does not shy away from becoming an active participant and is always willing to take on complicated issues and roles that others are wary of. I asked him recently, how is he able to accomplish all that he does? Scott thought for a second and said he actually has worked very hard to make sure that his community service did not negatively affect his work or, more importantly, his family. His wife, Joey, and daughters, Ryan, Maddie, and Brady, will have a chance to rebut that later on tonight at home. Scott, please come up and receive your well-deserved Brotherhood Award. The plaque reads, "The Men of Reformed Judaism at WRT Brotherhood Award presented to Scott Silberfein," no E on the middle in this one, sorry, "for devoted service to Temple, Judaism, and the community, 2022.
Thank you, Barry. And to the Men of Reformed Judaism, I say thank you. Thank you, Rabbi. I am really honored to receive the Brotherhood Award. As I started to think about what to say tonight, I thought about this past week and the holiday we just celebrated, the holiday of Shavuot. Of course, as Rabbi Reeser told us, Shavuot has many traditions and meanings, but for WRT, it always means the confirmation service. Following the confirmation service, the Tracy Kreisberg Prize. I'm so honored to receive the Brotherhood Award the same Shabbat that Riley Meltz has received the Tracy Kreisberg Prize, and with members of Riley's family in attendance and Tracy's family, especially Esther and the Basses, tuning in. Tracy is remembered among other traits as an intelligent leader, well respected by her peers. Riley, as we can all tell, these qualities certainly describe you as well. Mazel tov. So after thinking about Shavuot, I went to the great sage, Rabbi Wikipedia. The first thing I learned is that our Parsha this week, Parshat Naso, has 176 verses and is the longest single portion in the Torah. That's right, largest number of letters, words, and verses of any of the 54 weekly Torah portions. I didn't read any more about Naso. Instead, I went back to read more about Shavuot. Shavuot is not only how our ancestors marked the wheat harvest, the anniversary of the revelation of the Torah at Mount Sinai, but is also the anniversary of the King David was born and died. I like coincidences. I don't always believe in them, especially from the Torah. So I began my little trip down a rabbit's hole to see how I could find something to discuss tonight related to King David and the good, the bad, and the ugly, but hopefully the satisfaction of volunteer work. Turns out, there is quite a lot. I often get asked why I volunteer, or how do I find the time? Just as often, I'm also told it's a thankless job. And well, to be honest, very often that's true. But please let me tell you a little bit about why I've said yes to volunteer opportunities over the years. I say yes to volunteer opportunities because, like King David, I'm an optimist. David was a man of great passion, faith, and optimism. Throughout the book of Psalms, we watch King David face personal adversity, challenges to his leadership. Yet through it all, his optimism shows through, and optimism is contagious. It can lift spirits, build strength, provide hope. I believe wholeheartedly in the boards I've served on and the institutions they represent. And I believe that by becoming more deeply involved as a volunteer, I could help these institutions build upon their strengths and reach new heights. In essence, from one generation to the next, l'dor v'dor, but always with the optimism that when my turn is finished, there would be better and brighter people ready to take over, and the institution in a better place than the day I first started to serve. To say yes to volunteer opportunities certainly requires some courage, and to succeed, I think it requires humility and integrity. Certainly, King David is known for his courage. He's also known for his humility. He never forgot his humble beginnings. He never became an arrogant king. To me, I wanted to volunteer to get to know and work with people, the rest of the board, the professional staff, the clergy. It was about building personal relationships and then revealing your humility and integrity to foster compassion, kindness, and general caring about those with whom you've worked. When those relationships were built, success for the institution soon followed. It was no different for King David. But if I'm being completely honest, I'm also a glutton for punishment. Plenty of that comes with volunteering. Unlike David, I was not armed with a staff and a sling, although I did learn how to use some of my thick skin. But the route to volunteer and institution success was made that much greater because of the hard work and dedication it took to reach a goal. I was part of many successes, along with some failures. Much like David, however, our ultimate goal was always to better the institution for all of our stakeholders, not ourselves. Awards like the one I'm receiving tonight are certainly deeply meaningful, but not the reason I volunteered or stepped up when called upon. Being able to say yes to multiple volunteer opportunities is not a one-person show, and Barry has already mentioned this, but it does take the entire family to make it work. Thank you for all the support I've received from my family over the years. I would not have been able to volunteer without Joey, Ryan, Maddie, and Brady. I apologize to them for the dinners missed, the piled up dishes, the late night wake-ups when I would return home well after they were in bed, after an evening and sometimes even an early morning of board meetings. I know Joey and I both hope that our daughters learn the great value and benefits in giving back and volunteering as they continue their life journeys. Again, thank you to the MRJ of WRT for this wonderful honor. Mazel tov to Riley, Melt's family. Mazel tov to Ryan and the Sussberg family, and Natalie and Sarah and the Kobe family. Shabbat shalom.
Scott, the most celebrated words in all of Jewish tradition, other than Shema Yisrael, are found in this week's Parashat Naso. They are the words of blessing that the priests are instructed to confer upon the Israelites. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the divine light shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's countenance be lifted up unto you and give you peace. We'll offer these to you as a musical blessing in gratitude for all that you've done for our community and beyond. May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom.
May God's countenance smile upon you and give you peace. And let us all say, Amen,
Amen.
and Mazal Tov.